All right, guys, so we're getting into something a little different today. Came back home for the afternoon to work on my dad's car a little bit. We've got his 69 Dodge Dart, and we're trying to get it ready for race season this year. Got some things we need to do to it before we can, get her out and stretch her legs. Gonna need to do some cutting on a door bar to make it a little bit easier for him to get into. So we're gonna try and make some room for a swing out. And then I took the onboard air off of the Mustang, and we're going to throw it in his Dart so we have a little bit of boost control rather than the way I had it set up where we were just using raw duty cycle. So now we're going to have dome pressure, onboard air, a little bit more control with the boost as opposed to using the raw duty cycle. The raw duty cycle worked, but we were having trouble getting it to make a whole lot of boost on the brake. I didn't use any timing strategies or nothing like that. I'd rather just throw some dome pressure on top of the gate and get it to make some boost. So that's our plan today. So we're gonna do an install, get the dome pressure sensor wired up, get the tank and everything mounted, wired, relay, all that stuff, and then get everything plumbed. And hopefully we can get this thing going and get it to make some boost on the brake. Because before, this thing only make like 6-7 pounds on the brake. And the fastest we could get it to go was like a 148/60 foot. And this thing got a big tire on it. So I think we can get it up to around 12-13 pounds on the brake. I think this thing's gonna be a monster. But anyways, let me get in the shop. We're gonna get this seat out and start getting cracking on this. All right, so we getting started on this whole project. We got some holes drilled in the floor back here and put a few rib nuts in here. So now we got the tank mounted, got the pump mounted as best we could. The floor pan in this car is pretty thin sheet metal, so the tank is going to kind of move around a little bit, but I mean, that's just how it's going to have to be. We are going to have to figure out a T fitting here to put the T sideways, long ways like this, just for clearance issues. I think it'll clear as it is, but it looks real close, and I'd rather not take a chance of this tank flopping and then putting a dent in the top of Dad's trunk lid. So we're gonna change some stuff there. We're gonna change kind of how this is laid out, I think, a little bit as well. But we gotta get the relay mounted and start running some wiring. I had to run to Harbor Freight and grab a bunch of things that I didn't have here. Crimpers, strippers, multimeter, yeah, all the good stuff there, a pick set, whatnot. So now I'm just unstripping all the wiring that I had in the Mustang and just trying to figure out where I want to do it, because obviously I have an excess amount of wire, which I don't need for this since everything's so compact and kind of in one spot back here with the fuel tank and stuff. So I'm going to get all this stripped apart, trying to get the pump kind of wired, or at least the grounds, the triggers, the relay, and get that stuff wired to where all I've got is one wire running up to the switch that'll be inside the car. That way we can turn the tank on and off, or the compressor on and off, and then that way he can just like turn it off. It'll be fine. He can cruise on the street. It'll run wastegate, and then we'll have a toggle switch. You can toggle it on, and then it'll pump the tank up, and then it'll run based off of whatever target boosts and stuff we have set up in a table for dome pressure. So I'm gonna get all this cleaned up, kind of get some of this wiring laid out, figure out where everything's going, and then from there we can go and we can get inside the car. I've got the single boost solenoid underneath the dash in the car. We're gonna run dual solenoids now, so I gotta get 2 dual solenoids mounted underneath there, get those wired to the terminator, and then we'll worry about plumbing, and then we'll have to run plumbing out of the firewall, out to the gates, and then we'll have to put a dome pressure sensor in the top of one of the gates, and then run that wiring back in the car also to the terminator as well to have a sensor read dome pressure. So just gonna sit here and kind of chuck away at this for a little bit and see if I can get this half of it sorted out real quick. It's actually like 10 o'clock at night, and I don't want to keep anybody up out here in the shop. So I'm gonna do what I can, and then I'll show you whenever I get some of this wiring mess sorted out over here. I got the wiring and stuff pretty much all ran here, and let's see if I can not blind myself. Had one of my terminals come undone, so I gotta get another connector for that, get that connected back up to the switch. Got the relay and the fuse mounted down low. Got the pump wired and grounded, and I've got this white wire here. This is gonna be a switch 12 volt that's gonna turn on or basically send power to this switch here, and then when this switch grounds back and forth, then it'll send 12 volts out to the relay and then kick the pump on. Also got a big green wire here I got to send to battery power, and then essentially that part of this is wired. Just got to run it up to a switch on the switch panel. And the one I had in here before had one of these switches up here. Why is that not lit up? One of these switches up here on this switch panel that would actually turn on the solenoid. So it was just kind of hardwired between the power wire for the boost solenoid. Now it's just going to be wired for this switch on the tank to turn the pump on and off, rather than turn the solenoid on and off. But for now, that's where I'm going to call it a night. I'm going to go hit the hay, and then I'll get up in the morning and then run those two wires, one to the battery, one all the way up here to the switch. And I got to get underneath the dash and start messing with the boost solenoid mounting and all that, and then getting it wired to the terminator, and then we'll do all the plumbing and everything else out on the front end. But all right, so we're back at it today, bright and early. So I got to get constant power ran over to this relay from the battery. I might end up letting my dad do that, however he wants to do it. I don't know. So yeah, we got to get constant power, and then I've actually got to get it switched power underneath the carpet and stuff. Run this big ass long wire all the way up. I'm gonna crawl underneath the dash, kind of see where we're at with, I don't even remember where the wiring or what the wiring looks like underneath the dash. So I'm just gonna get in there and see what happens. See what we got. So I got the wire ran inside the car, had to pull the lower half of the back seat out. We're gonna get it run up inside the A-pillar here and hooked up to the switch up there. That way when we switch it on, it will send power to the relay, and then the relay can be active, or the pump can be activated by the pressure switch. So we're getting that run. That'll be easy. I found the wire underneath the dash, which one that one has to go to. And then I'm gonna get the old boost solenoid out, get the two solenoids mounted together, get them remounted up inside the car. And then I gotta sort out the wiring on those. And then I've got the laptop coming up now too, so I can figure out which inputs or which outputs I've got triggering the one relay or the one boost solenoid, and then we can figure out how we're going to trigger the other one as well. And then we'll have to worry about wiring up the pressure switch and then plumbing it to the gate or to the solenoids. So just chipping away at it. Get back to you when we make a little bit more progress. All right, so we got everything wired, got the tank and everything in the trunk. I got the sensor put in the driver's wastegate, got it wired, and then got the solenoids and everything mounted underneath the dash. So we're gonna back it out, test it without any air in the tank, see what it makes on the brake, and then we'll turn the tank on or turn the pump on, let it build up some pressure. And I've already set the tune up to search for 12 pounds on the brake. So we'll just get it out there, try it, see if it hits it, and then I can check the data logs and make sure everything works, and then see the difference between no dome control and dome control. We got it warming up. We're gonna let it get up to temp, and then we'll put it on the brake and see what it does. And then we'll turn the controller on and see what it does as well. So that was with no dome control, just on the gate, 4,400 launch RPM. It made 7.5 pounds. So I got the pump on right now. We'll test it again, and I'm targeting 12 pounds of boost on the brake. So once it pumps up, we'll try it again and see what it makes. dome control. I think we've got some boost leaks. This thing, I tried it on 12 pounds of dome, and it still only made like 8 pounds of boost. I mean, which isn't terrible. And then because it made like 7 on just normal wastegate, made like 7, and then 12 pounds of dome, it made 8.5-ish, and then I ended up bumping it up to 16, and it made like 8.5, 9-ish. So I ended up, I went into the tune and set up a timing retard to yank timing about 10 degrees once it hit 5 pounds of boost. I tried it again and got it to make 12 pounds of boost in about 3.3 seconds. And I think we're just gonna leave it there. I think we're gonna call it. That's gonna be a good place to start with the car this year. And we really just gotta sort it out. We don't know what it's gonna make with dome pressure, so we're gonna have to really tune that in and try and figure out what, because before we were just on raw duty cycle. So yeah, we'll just have to play with the boost control, boost by time, and kind of see what we're working with here. I don't know. See what happens. But 16 pounds of dome, pulling 10 degrees, got to make 12 pounds of boost, and that's just what we're going to try out. Hopefully the track will open up here in a couple months. I think we're less than 60 days out. I think we're like 50 days out before the track opens, and I'm going to try and get him to bring it up for the opening day of the track so we can test it. The track's going to be pretty green, so I don't know that the car will actually go down with the boost controller on, but we'll at least get it out, make some hits, and hope for the best. But anyways, that's going to do it for today's video, guys. Thanks for watching. Keep following along. See you on the next one.